So I was not like a loose woman by any stretch of the imagination. I didn't sleep around. So I was not like a loose woman by any stretch of the imagination. I didn't sleep around. But there were times when I was very attracted to somebody, and I thought about going to bed with them, and um, I now consider them mistakes because it really didn't benefit the relationship very much, and in the end, it was just like an impulsive thing I did, and I don't recommend it unless that's what you're about. If all you want to do is like have one night stands, it really leaves you empty, unfulfilled, and nobody likes that. What do you call that when you're walking out of their place in the morning? Oh, the walk of shame. Nobody wants to do that walk of shame, not even us older women. My suggestion is if you get to know somebody and you really like them a lot, you need to sort of plan ahead just in case. I mean, my rule was never have sex with the person. This is if this was somebody I really liked and respected, my goal was not to have sex with this person for 20 dates. That's a long time. And with Jeff, we never got to the 20 dates, but he kept reminding me about that. We never got to those 20 dates. But if you get to the point where you're really attracted to somebody, you need to start dressing for that moment just in case. I mean, just because you're in your 60s or 70s or even your 80s doesn't mean you can't buy sexy lingerie. Go look in your underwear drawer. If you have anything that's more than 2 years old, throw it away. Go to the Victoria's Secret website, or better yet, go to like Nordstrom's website or Saks' website and buy some really upscale lingerie. Like lingerie from Paris or Italy is really gorgeous. Even lingerie from Brazil, very hot lingerie. And we're never too old to wear this stuff. I mean, go look in your drawer. If you have granny panties in there and you haven't had your period in 10 years, get rid of them. That is not going to turn any man on. Buy yourself a garter belt. Thigh-high stockings to wear with the garter belt, even if you just wear it in private. Although when you have those things, if you've got a man who's interested in those things, it will turn him on. If you just wear it out to dinner one night, I mean, for no reason. You got to think about these things. Just because you're over 55 doesn't mean you don't have to set the scene, dress the part, look attractive, smell wonderful. Here is a great suggestion for a perfume, if you haven't heard of this, Tom Ford's Rose Prick. Oh my God, intoxicating. This, if you like rose fragrances, I mean, this literally smells like fresh roses. Not too sweet, it's just beautiful. And if you love roses, you'll love this. And they're not paying me to say this. Gosh, I wish they'd sponsor a video. Maybe they'd give me some of these for free. So it's not cheap. I will say that. It is a pricey perfume. Jeff gave me this for Christmas last year. It is a great perfume, and you don't need a lot of it. Just dab a little bit behind your ears. Gets them every time. Pamper yourself. You want this man to see you and just melt and be counting the minutes until he can take you to bed. You need to up your game in the lingerie department. So let's take a look. All right, men love red lingerie. Get at least one matching set. It doesn't even have to be from the same brand. For example, here, these are little bikini hip hugger panties. The bra was a high-end brand, La Perla. La Perla is a very expensive brand. I think this was a $600 bra. I didn't pay that. I paid $129 on a website called Gilt. So if you ever check that website out, you can get some very high-end clothes for a lot less. Now, you don't have to spend that. You can just go to Victoria's Secret. You could even go to Macy's or JCPenney and find a sexy red bra. The other color that men love is black. Oh, yes. So, I have lacy black bra. And these panties are Agent Provocateur from Paris. Very sexy. Let's see what else I've got here. This is, these are Cosabella panties. And I forget what I paid for these. Now these are, I think these are more of a hip hugger style. So they were, $16.99 for the black panties. So you really only need one matching set, maybe two if you want to splurge on a couple. Victoria's Secret is a great place to go, and nowadays they have sizes for women of all sizes. This is a pair of panties that actually Jeff bought me at Victoria's Secret. I think we were, I don't know, I think maybe we were dating. Look at them, they have that cute look in the back. And let's see what else I've got here. Just went into my drawer and grabbed a bunch of stuff. Okay, these I'm trying to think of what brand they were. This was just some generic lacy brand of boy shorts that I picked up probably in Macy's or who knows. But I mean, it's just black lace. Men love black lace. Okay, getting back to Agent Provocateur from Paris. I got such a deal. There was a store called Daffy's in New York, and they specialized in extremely high-end designer clothes. And when they went out of business, they were selling Agent Provocateur panties. I think these were like $75 panties, if that. Maybe even more. And I think I got them for like $30, $25. But these are really pretty. I also got these gold ones at the same sale. I love these little gold chains. Aren't they pretty? Now the gold chains, The gold chains are a little bit of a nuisance when you're wearing them. They catch on things. So you can actually unclip the gold chains, and frankly, I would just wear them when you know they're not going to be on for long, if you know what I mean. Let's see, what else did I have here? I think I had a pair of crotchless panties. Maybe I didn't bring them. Well, that's also a great idea. I mean, if nothing else, it sure makes it easier to go to the bathroom if you're out. Okay, here we go. This is a really pretty pair of black tights that Jeff bought me. I think it was last time we were in Paris. They are fishnet tights, and they have these little black velvet bows that go like on your calf. They also have the black pleats in them, or black lines, seams, black seams in them. Very pretty, very sexy. I have to wait for an excuse to wear them because I can't remember the last time I wore tights or pantyhose here in Florida. But these are beautiful, and if nothing else, I'll take them with me next time I go to Paris and wear them there. So, I mean, just to give you some ideas, this is just to give you some ideas of, you know, some sexy lingerie that you should have in your drawer. You don't have to wear it all the time, but, you know, every time I had a date, I put this on under whatever I was wearing, even if it was just the first meeting. Not that I intended to have sex with anybody, because that was never my intention. It just made me feel confident and pretty and sexy. And I guess that was a feeling that I wanted to have. So, you know, just a suggestion. And as I said, just splurge on one set, just wash it, and every time you have another date, you know, wear it for your date. And when you find somebody you really like, and you're very attracted to them, if you haven't made love with them yet, you may want to send a little subtle hint. I've only done this once, but I thought about it for a long time, and I sort of banked it in the back of my mind that if I ever found somebody that I really, really, really liked, this is what I was going to do. I have to tell you, I only did this with one person ever, and I ended up marrying him. That's Jeff, of course, not the other husbands. I didn't even come up with that with them. So anyway, we're sitting in a restaurant, and I decided to go to the ladies' room. I had to go to the ladies' room. I took off my panties, and I purposely wore a very sexy, lacy little, I think it was a thong even. I went to the ladies' room, I took off my panties, and I put them in my purse. And when I came back, I handed them to my husband, who wasn't my husband then. I handed them to my boyfriend. And I said, "Oh, here, I brought these for you." And he picked them up. I think he was like blown away. I may have made him fall in love with me that night. I never did it again, and I'm sure he is disappointed, because occasionally he'll remind me about the time that we were in a restaurant and I went to the ladies' room, came back and handed him my panties. But keep that in mind if there's somebody special. Just never know. So my friend, who I told you about in part 1 of this little trilogy of videos, my friend who was coaching me on how to navigate the online dating world, suggested that since I just wasn't having a whole lot of luck, that I start venturing to Naples, Florida. Naples at that time was about, I guess, 45 minutes to an hour away, and it was sort of outside of the distance that I felt was reasonable to travel. In my head, Naples was too far away. But my friend, she used to watch for specials at the Ritz-Carlton in Naples. And whenever they had some sort of a midweek special or even a weekend special, she would book a room for a night or two, take off time from work, and she would go down there by herself. And her plan was she'd spend all day out at the pool or go to the beach. And then she would meet very interesting men there. Her theory was you meet very wealthy men at the Ritz-Carlton. The problem I saw was that sure, you meet very wealthy men there, but they're leaving Monday. Um, I didn't understand her thinking that this was the place to find a wealthy, polished gentleman, if you will. However, that's what she did. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford to go to the Ritz-Carlton. I couldn't afford even one night at the Ritz-Carlton, let alone two or specials. At that point, I was lucky if I could afford a night at a Motel 6, sadly. I found the men in Naples, most of them had like some strange issue. I like to say they had big butts. So I eliminated all of them. And at this point, I just got very discouraged and decided I was done with dating. I had dated lots of guys that lived close to me. I had gone down to Naples to check out the guys down there, and I just decided that I wasn't meant to find another person. I didn't believe that my person was out there. And, was it that I was being too picky? I don't think so. Because I was thinking about this is the man that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And if he's not everything I want him to be, then he's not the man for me. So rather than continue to put myself through this, I just stopped. I just decided enough, no more. I'm just going to stay home, just going to be me and my little dog, and that's it.
I don't really need new friends, so spend your time with me. Looking for someone who can play though, wanna hang with me. I'm not really looking for a friend, so spend your time with me. Looking for someone not.
It was an organization that actually mediums go to apply for certification. And they have to be able to prove that they can actually communicate with people on the other side. Sort of like if you've ever heard of the Long Island medium, it was like those kind of mediums. They talk to people who have crossed over. So I got an email, it was near Christmas time, and the email was inviting me to attend one of these group readings at a hotel that was very close to where I was living. And I had nothing to do because there was nothing going on in my life, because basically I had no life. My entire life was literally just sitting on the couch all night watching old movies with my little dog Morgan, and often just crying because I was so miserable. So I decided that I would do this. It was only $30, so I paid the money, bought the ticket, and I decided to go for this reading. So that the group reading, there were about 25, 30 people in this room, a meeting room at a hotel. And then there was the medium. And so she starts reading the room, and she said, "Has your father passed away?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, that your father is so disappointed in you, and he said that it saddens him to see you living this shattered life. Your entire life is terrible. And I'm like stunned. And she said, your father said, all you do is you sit at home on the couch every night with your dog and you cry. And he said, and I sit there with you and I try to comfort you, but you don't know I'm there, but I'm there with you every night. And he said, it's just so upsetting to me to see you like this. And he said, you need to get out and live your life. And at the time, my mother was in a nursing home suffering from Alzheimer's. And he said, you need to stop fussing over your mother. He said, your mother is fine where she is. There are people to take care of her. And then he said, I will be coming for her soon. And he said that I go and sit with her too sometimes. He said, she's never alone. There are other departed souls that love her, that go and spend time with her. You need to stop. Get on with your life. Get out of the house and stop sitting on the couch crying every single night. And then he said a few other things that made me realize it really was him. I mean, he talked about some things that only he and I would know. I was stunned by this. It was embarrassing for me to think that my father knew that that was what my life had become. Just literally sitting on the couch and crying all night. I spent my entire life when my dad was alive trying to make my dad proud of me and happy about my accomplishments. So I was truly embarrassed that he knew that my life wasn't all of that anymore. But he basically gave me the kick in the butt that I needed to get off that couch, stop crying, and get out there in the world again. So from the point after I had gotten that message from my dad at the reading, anytime I was at home that I was feeling depressed, because I still hadn't gone out, I knew I had to, but anytime I was feeling at home depressed or started crying, I would literally be looking around in my living room to see where my father might be. And I didn't want him to see me crying. So there were times that I just found excuses to get out of the house. I joined a couple of meetup groups. Sometimes I would just go to the mall and walk around because I was so afraid that if I was sitting home crying, somewhere in that room was my dad. So, I have my dad to thank for getting me out of the house, off the couch, and getting myself out there again. And then one day I was reading my email, and in the email was an advertisement for a new dating site called Our Time. Back. Well, it's a new dating site, so I wasn't going to get bombarded with responses this time. I knew that. I think I got 3 responses. The third email was just a very simple email from a man who said that he was ready to meet the last first date of his life. And he said he was an architect in Naples, which he said he was an architect and that he was interested in meeting me. And he felt that he ticked all the boxes. So Jeff and I finally met on February 11th, 2014. We met at 5 o'clock at this restaurant that was sort of midway from us, and he was a Naples guy. So I was sort of like, I don't know. But anyway, so we met at this restaurant at 5 o'clock, and at 11:30, we were still sitting there. We closed the restaurant. They had already put the chairs up on the tables around us. I think I had 4 glasses of wine, as did he. And since then, that was the last time I ever saw Jeff drink 4 glasses of wine. We had this wonderful dinner. For me, it was love at first sight. I don't think it was for him, but that did come later. I just absolutely fell head over heels in love with this man. I mean, on our second date, he had been working all night. He's an architect, and he had been working all night on some project, and he finally finished around 1 o'clock. And we were chatting, and he said he'd love to tango with me sometime. And one of the things about him was that he was spontaneous. And so we met at the Target parking lot here in, I guess it was North Naples. We met in that Target parking lot at, I think by the time he got there, it was close to 2 in the morning. And we danced the tango. It was fun, it was romantic, it was wonderful. So you would have thought that that made everything easy. Well, as much as I'd like to say it was the easiest relationship I ever had, he didn't make it easy for me. What I didn't know is that he had been dating another woman for a long time. They had a long history. And I guess he was facing the fact that they were not compatible. She was not the one he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. So for a while, unbeknownst to me, he was dating both of us, and I guess juggling it. And there were times that I would text him and he wouldn't be reachable for an entire weekend, and he would say that he was busy working, or his phone didn't have signal, or there were all kinds of things. But at that time, that was the only man that I really wanted. I didn't want to let him go, and I felt that he was worth hanging on there for him. And so we went on and on. We dated, started dating in February. In September, I had invited him to my place for dinner, and he came for dinner a lot. In September, over a romantic dinner, he told me that he had decided that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me. It wasn't a proposal, but he then also told me about this other woman, and he said he wanted me to hear it from him, not from his children. His children were aware of her and didn't like her. And so for me, it was a mixed, it was sort of bittersweet, I guess. I mean, I was pissed off that he was dating this other person. On the other hand, I loved him so much. I was so glad that he had come to the realization that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me. And so once I met Jeff, I never sat on the couch and cried again. When Jeff and I got very serious, I mean, there were times when sometimes we would make love before we went out to dinner, and then I decided, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore because I might not ever get to the restaurant. So he teases me now. Sometimes he'll come home from work and he'll say, do we have to go to dinner first? I know you have that rule. You want dinner first. You just don't know. I mean, once you marry the guy, you don't know if you'll ever get dinner if you don't have dinner and get that out of the way and then come home. So, something to keep in mind. And to our surprise, I think my dad came to visit after I had moved in with Jeff. Shortly after he decided he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me, we're sitting at dinner and having glasses of wine, and my wine glass started to slide across the table. There was no wind. We were sitting in the house. There was nothing to push it across the table, and I wasn't even paying attention. And Jeff said to me, quick, grab the glass. It's going to fall on the floor. Grab the glass. And so I stopped the glass from sliding across the table, and I just sat there. And it just happened to be the eve of my dad's birthday in November. And so a few months later, I took Jeff to a group meeting with that medium that had gotten my dad to speak to me. And I wanted Jeff to go to one of those readings too. He'd never done it and really was kind of skeptical. Anyway, I asked that medium who came to my house and slid the wine glass, and she said it was a father figure. She said, I believe it was your father, and he just wanted you to know he's always with you and that he approves. So you can find the love of your life too. You just have to be really picky and be patient and hang in there, and the universe will bring him to you. Sometimes I think my dad sent him to me because he saw how miserable and upset I was. So who knows? It doesn't matter who sent him to me. The fact is, I found my love, and I want you to find your love. Or if you're just looking for a great lover, go find that person too. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video has added to your life, given you some encouragement to get your butt off the couch and stop staying at home crying about how miserable your life is, and go out there and find somebody to love, and somebody who will love and respect you.
Looking for someone who can play though, wanna hang with me. I'm not really looking for a friend, so spend your time with me. Looking for someone not afraid to give it all to